Hello ladies, gentlemen, and persons in between. My name is Tim Snowborn, and today we're talking about life after life on this episode of Serious Issues. Yeah, it's cold in my house. Deal with it. So, this is a video that I've been looking forward to making for a long time. It's something that I think about a lot, and I'm excited for the chance to share it with you. Standard disclaimer before all my videos where I talk about spirituality. I am an agnostic. I lean toward believing in a God and an afterlife, but I'm not about to tell the atheists they're wrong, because who knows, they might not be. As I said in my cemetery tour videos, I have an abiding interest in the afterlife and what it's like. I've read different descriptions. I've read a lot of near-death experiences. I've read the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I've got this book which describes the afterlife according to different religions around the world. And it's just something that's been fascinating to me for a long time. I mostly listen to near-death experience accounts because those are people who at least claim to have actually been there. And it's interesting to hear what they say it's like on the other side. They say that you review your previous life and see what you did well, what you did not so well, and then before you come back, you spend some time planning your next life. You set some goals and you decide where you want to be born and to whom you want to be born and blah, blah, blah. But in between, they say that heaven is a place, it's basically a vacation between lives. You get a chance to unwind and basically do whatever you want until you get bored of doing whatever you want and you decide you want to go back to suffering and misery. And that idea has always fascinated me. The idea that the afterlife is a place where you can just do whatever you want for however long you want to do it. And I think a lot about what I want to do if that turns out to be true. If there is an afterlife and you really can do just whatever you want on the other side. I've got a lot of what I call highbrow and lowbrow stuff that I want to do. Highbrow stuff is like, learning all the secrets and mysteries of the universe, really understanding how it all works together, and why things happen the way they happen. I kind of like to explore space, just have my own little spaceship, or maybe a group of space enthusiasts all on one ship, just zipping around looking at different quasars and nebulas and whatever. All that pretty space scenery that I like so much. I'd like to find out where is the planet with intelligent life that is closest to Earth. How many planets with intelligent life are there? I'd like to see alien landscapes and see how life has evolved on other worlds. All that beautiful mind-expanding stuff you can only do when you're in heaven. Then there's some sort of lowbrow stuff, which mainly involves movies and video games. I want to play a lot of video games in first person, like all of them. I used to think it would be cool to play video games on like an IMAX size screen where like Mario is 30 feet tall. But then I thought, well, why would I play it on a screen when I can just be immersed in the game and play and I could just be the character that you're supposed to play as in the game. I could be Mario or Link or whatever. Like I want to play Silent Hill, I want to play Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Saints Row. Bunch of different games I want to just... Metroid, gotta play Metroid. I will finally play a first-person version of Mega Man. I always thought that if Capcom wanted to breathe new life into the Mega Man series, they should make it a first-person shooter, kind of like Metroid Prime. And I will finally get to be in that game when I'm on the other side. Then there's movie ideas, and movies and TV shows that I've always wanted to see, but they never got made, or they were ideas of my own. Or they were made but were poorly executed, like I just saw Jeepers Creepers 3, which was some straight-to-video B-movie bullshit. I would like to see a better version of that. Happy Death Day I thought was a good idea with a weak execution. I'd like to see a better version of that. I'd like to see a better version of the Silent Hill movies, because it's a great game, and I wish that they had made better movies. The movies weren't terrible, they just weren't that good. I will finally see an American Werewolf in Tokyo. I have always wanted to see an American Werewolf in Tokyo. They never made it. I want to see it. I will finally get to be in a zombie apocalypse. That's what I want to try that. I want to play like a zombie apocalypse sim in the afterlife if I can. I want to see the entire Batman the Animated Series done in live action. I want to see Muppet remakes of lots of movies. I want to see like Muppet Die Hard, Muppet Lord of the Rings, Muppet Hellraiser, everything. Just see all these different remakes. I will see every mashup I've ever thought of. Mashups like I want to see Herbie the Love Bug mashed up with Christine. Monty Python going back to Lord of the Rings. I want to see Monty Python's Lord of the Rings. I had all these TV shows and movies and video games that I want to watch or play, right? But here's the thing. When I think of heaven, I think of a society full of enlightened people, like enlightened in the Eastern sense, in the Buddhist sense. And when I think of enlightened people, I think of someone who is devoid of anger, sadness, anxiety, depression. I think of someone who has overcome all of that. And I feel like that conflicts with my desire to play certain games and watch certain movies, because I feel like if you're enlightened, if you're in heaven and you're enlightened and it's all peace and happiness and love, then you wouldn't have that desire, you wouldn't have that appetite for violence. A lot of the things that I and other people want to do or see are based on emotions like anger or sadness or anxiety or whatever. And I feel like in that society, in this peaceful, enlightened society, you wouldn't even have the desire for any of that stuff. You wouldn't have an appetite for violence. You wouldn't have an appetite for anything that is based on anger or depression or whatever. And that seems kind of depressing to me. The idea that you would suddenly not want things you have always wanted. Like again, I've always wanted to see an American Werewolf in Tokyo. But then when I die, it'll be just boom, and suddenly I won't want to see that because it would involve violence, involve werewolves eating people. So, and I just wouldn't have the desire to see a thing like that anymore. And it's sort of understandable. Like, I don't want the same things now that I wanted when I was 7. I don't think the same things are cool now that I thought were cool when I was 7. It's natural to outgrow different concepts of cool and have different goals, and you don't want those things anymore because you're more mature now or whatever. But it just seems kind of depressing to be suddenly too mature or enlightened, or you've been looking forward to these things. You always wanted to see these things or do these things, and then suddenly you don't want it anymore. That seems weird and depressing. Another thing that I'm skeptical they would have in heaven is darkness. I kind of like darkness, not in a gothy, emo kind of way. What I mean is that I like the night. I like the way the world looks when it is lit only by the moon. I like stars. And whenever I hear the afterlife described, it's always described as this bright, sunny, happy place where it's summer all the time. And I like summer. I'll be glad to never have snow again. Or maybe, I don't know, I like snow as long as it's not cold. It's possible, it's heaven, whatever. But the afterlife is always described as this bright, sunny place. And I wonder if there would even be darkness, if there would even be night in heaven, Do they have planets and a sun? Do they have stars? I don't know. It seems like it would be a world devoid of darkness, but maybe not, because, maybe it's only on Earth that we equate light with happiness and darkness with fear and danger and whatever. Maybe they do have darkness. It seems like it can't really be heaven if they don't have so many of these things that I want. If I can't do so many of these things that I want to do. Maybe Train was right. Maybe heaven is overrated. But at the same time, I mean, I've read a lot of near-death experiences, and no one comes back saying that it's disappointing. No one comes back saying, yeah, it was cool, but there's no LARPing because you can't have swords and killing dragons is frowned upon. So I find it hard to believe that I'll get there and be disappointed, but it's hard to believe that I won't be disappointed because they're not going to have a lot of stuff that I think is really cool right now. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know if I'm going to be, I mean, I'm probably going to be happy. I'm probably not going to be disappointed, but I'm disappointed now that I'm not going to be disappointed then. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will have all those things. Maybe I can play all those games and watch all those movies and stuff, and I'll be able to live out all my fantasies before I get to the boring, deeply spiritual shit. So what do you think? If there is an afterlife, what do you think it's like? What would you do if it turns out the afterlife is a place where you can pretty much do whatever you want forever until you get bored? What kind of stuff will you do? I look forward to reading about your afterlife in the comments below. Thank you very much for joining me. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. It's great to have you here. I'd love to have you subscribe and join me for future conversations and check out my other videos for more. If you're a current subscriber, thank you very, very, very much for tuning in again. I really appreciate your continued support. Thanks again for watching, everyone. If I never get to meet you face to face, at least we'll all see each other in the clearing at the end of the path.